Hello, it's Richard here, and I welcome you to my new weekly series called Young Man Yells at Clouds. In this show, I'll basically be talking about any topic that kind of comes to mind in my head, whether it be gaming or life in general. So, this will be a new thing I'm starting. I hope to do it every week. And yeah. So today we'll be talking about Assassin's Creed Syndicate, because today, as the day we're recording it, the 20th was Tuesday, 21st was Wednesday. 23rd, the 23rd of October, the Friday the 23rd of October, Assassin's Creed Syndicate has been released. And I have friends of mine actually who are playing it right now. And we're going to be talking about the critical reception of that. There's going to be just a little section. We're not going to dwell on it too long. I want to kind of talk briefly about a certain review of it that kind of caught my attention. Then we will talk about the final episode of Life is Strange. Now, I'm going to put like a big spoiler tag before that, and there'll be a skip link in the video, and I'm going to kind of cut in a clip saying this is heavy spoilers coming up for Life is Strange, so you will be warned, don't worry. If you're listening on a headphone, if you're listening to this on headphones, which you can do as well, just listen out for the spoiler attack, kind of a little spoiler shout out I'll give. So there'll be that. I'll also be quickly talking about my review of Mad Max, which I will be uploading soon. And if anything else comes to mind, we'll maybe have a quick section on that. That's today's plan. So without further ado, let's get started.
Remember, the gyrospheres are not bumper cars.
So let's start with Assassin's Creed Syndicate. So today it came out for the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, PC. Obviously, like any other Assassin's Creed title, highly anticipated though. This one, of course, has a lot of weight on its shoulders because, of course, the disastrous launch of Assassin's Creed Unity last year. Things could not go so wrong. It was just, it was unbelievable. They did patch it over time, but unfortunately just still wasn't. I played Unity a few months after it came out, and this would have been when they released a good few major patches, and even though it did work a lot better, I ran into bugs nearly at every corner, and I kind of got frustrated with Unity, and I kind of moved away from it, which is a shame really, because it had potential to be something good, and I thought the actual co-op aspect was really fun. It's a good idea. I think they really should have built upon that some more, but I think it's also a smart decision this time to focus on the single player, because I think with this game they need to kind of rebuild trust with their fan base. And according to the critics, they've kind of done that, but of course, you know, critics, can you really trust them? But so far, the game's getting great reviews. GameSpot gave it a 9. I don't know what IGN gave it. I didn't check their review. Kotaku gave it a recommendation. Eurogamer gave it a recommendation. It's getting decent reviews. I've yet to see any reviews like from consumers or anything like that. I haven't been checking it out. I have a few friends playing it right now. Am I interested in it? I like the setting, the London setting, but I said the same thing about The Order 1886, which I didn't think was that bad. I had fun with The Order. I think people give that game too bad a rap, though. It was incredibly short and way too overpriced for what it was, and it did feel like a prologue. But anyway, for me, the Assassin's Creed series never really kind of sat with me. I mean, I played the first one when it came out. Well, yeah, and didn't play too much of it. I played 2 many years later, and I thought it was good, but again, it just didn't interest me. I tried 3, and 3 again was just okay. It was a little too slow at the start, and to be honest, the main character wasn't very interesting. But I found Black Flag to be incredibly refreshing. When I played Black Flag, I just had a ball. I absolutely adore Black Flag. It just felt like such a breath of fresh air for the series, and it was that pirate game we always wanted. And it had a lot of good things about it. It had a really entertaining story, a really enjoyable, very well written main protagonist, and just the pirate elements rose the game to just a new height, and it seemed like the series had finally turned over a new leaf, but unfortunately wasn't to be with Unity. But now Syndicate now has the opportunity to try and make up for that. But there's this one review in particular I just want to quickly mention, and of course it's the review by Anissa Sarkeesian. So Anissa Sarkeesian, who you may know for doing the Feminist Frequency videos, you know, that infamous Anissa Sarkeesian, she uploaded her first video game review yesterday, which I thought was incredibly brave. The comments are disabled, so thankfully there is no, like, disgusting things said, but, she released her review yesterday of Assassin's Creed Syndicate, and I was thinking to myself, I shouldn't watch this, but I want to. So I ended up watching it, and she did focus a lot on the female Evie, and she also talked about how she was happy to see female combatants, and I kind of thought to myself, well, that's an interesting observation. Now, I have very vague memories of the previous Assassin's Creed games, but I'm pretty sure there were female combatants. She singled out, actually, Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag for objectifying women with giving you the ability to recruit prostitutes to kind of blend in with the environment. You could also, in AC2, use them as like a distraction, if I remember correctly. Which I thought was a little which I think was an unfair criticism, because kind of we know that Assassin's Creed games are kind of, even though they're fictional, they do have like some level of historical accuracy in the way they create their environments and the people that kind of inhabit it. I mean, prostitutes were kind of very prevalent in especially in the Caribbean, in these areas, and I mean, it was a source of work for women because, you know, they weren't educated, and it was a very male-dominated world at that stage. So I think Sarkeesian kind of forgets that that Ubisoft are going for some level of historical accuracy. They're not deliberately going out to objectify women. Now, as I said, I think she's very brave to release that video, so she deserves a bit of credit, and I do think, you know, she's not all bad. She does have some interesting points, and she does exaggerate, but I wouldn't say she's one of the worst. I do feel, though, that she doesn't kind of hit the nail on the head. She kind of just takes a kind of extreme view, and that kind of colors her judgment. But I'm not here to really kind of discuss that. I just thought I'd mention it. It was an interesting thing. I was just around on Twitter, and I just happened to see it, and I was like, don't watch this, Richard, don't watch this, but I want to. It's like my hand was just reaching, just, yes, watch the video. But yeah, so Syndicate might not be a total bust if reviews are to be believed. I have yet to play it. I don't know if I will play it, but thought I'd mention that. Before we go on to Life is Strange, I want to quickly talk about Mad Max. So I finished Mad Max a few days ago, and I'm currently working on my review. And the clear thing I kind of want to say about Mad Max is that it's the perfect time waster. It's the best game to play when you have nothing else to play and you just want to kill time. It's the perfect game to just give you something to do, because Mad Max does not skimp on the content. But I feel so bad for Avalanche and Mad Max, because the game got such a kicking from critics because of how kind of it doesn't really innovate. But the problem is, I think a lot of gamers fail to realize, and a lot of reviewers fail to realize, is that series kind of genres don't really have to innovate to be entertaining. I find that the sandbox genre, you can sort of get away with it if you at least execute what you're doing very well, and Mad Max executes pretty much every kind of element of its gameplay incredibly well. I mean, the combat is really fun. It's not amazing. It's obviously inspired by Batman, but it works really well, and it really suits the tone of the game. It's more violent than Batman's. It's got a very big focus on vehicular combat, which is also very fun and very unique, and that's kind of up Avalanche's wheelhouse because they made the Just Cause series, and, you know, that's all about blowing crap up, so Chaos kind of suits Avalanche to a T. and it does a very good job of creating a believable wasteland. But yet everyone just like the critics fail to see that. I mean, if you go on the Steam reviews right now for Mad Max, it's getting very positive reviews. I believe it's on a very positive ranking on Steam. So people do like it. So it's strange, you know. It's interesting to see kind of that difference between the reviewers and the gamers. So it's very hard to kind of trust in this day and age, and that can make things a little scary for people. I'm not gonna lie. It's certainly an interesting point, but I think Mad Max is good, but I'm kind of finding it hard to decide on a score to give it, you know. I can see why people say that scores are kind of pointless, because they kind of are when you think about it, but I like to give mine scores, and I give mine scores based on how much I enjoyed them, and what I think of the game overall, kind of how it executes every little bit of it. So I just wanted to quickly kind of touch with you on that. I am still making reviews. Mad Max will be the next one. I'm in the process of doing it. So, yeah. So now I'm going to warn you right now that coming up next, I'm going to be talking about Life is Strange, the final episode, the ending. So I'm giving you a chance now to skip ahead to the end, so that you don't have to hear the spoilers for episode 5. I will be spoiling episode 5, so don't watch this. If you haven't played episode 5 and you plan on playing it, do not listen. If you, however, don't plan on playing Life is Strange, but you're curious about what I want to say, then just keep listening. But okay, are we all good? Have all the people who want to play it left? Are we sure now? I just want to make doubly sure. Okay. Okay, yeah, we're good. Okay, my producer is giving me the thumbs up. He's also tapping on his watch, so I guess I'll talk about it. Right. So a few days ago, we finally got the funny there. We finally got the final episode of Life is Strange. Excuse me, I stumbled over my words there. Can't talk today. The final episode, of course, it's called Polarized, and it's quite an interesting episode. So if you remember at the end of episode 4, Maxine Caulfield was captured by Mark Jefferson after he led them to Rachel's remains again under the guise of Nathan, and he also kills Chloe with a shot to the gut. And so Max wakes up now in a chair. She's been bound. Victoria's right next to her, and Jefferson has now taken his pictures, and we kind of find out into his psyche, and he's quite a scary individual. I'm not gonna lie. It's interesting kind of seeing this side to his personality. It's always the friendly ones, isn't it? You'll never trust your teachers again after playing episode 5. That's for sure. But I don't want to talk. I want to talk more about the ending. I want to talk more about kind of the middle of the episode and the ending, and how it actually affected me personally, and that's why I think episode 5 is absolutely fantastic. In the middle of the episode, Maxine kind of blacks out, and she goes kind of into a nightmare in which her conscience kind of plays tricks on her, because she's guilty of everything she's done, all the kind of the choices she has made, and she's sort of fighting with herself. And you can see kind of like all the characters she's helped are telling her that she's responsible for ruining their lives in a certain way, and this and that, and that she's messed with time. And it's a real emotional episode, and I thought it was absolutely, it really got to me, because I really understand where Max was coming from, and it kind of reached inside and just gripped me, and I was amazed. And damn you, SHAREfactory, I forgot to mute that clip. But yeah, it just really grabbed me, and it never let go, and I was completely emotionally quite shaken actually after playing the final episode, because the ending's so heartbreaking as well. It doesn't feel cheap, it doesn't feel rushed. I actually felt the ending was perfect, because everything comes full circle. And just the fact that you come down to those two choices, that last choice, do you sacrifice Chloe so that Arcadia Bay may live another day, or do you sacrifice Arcadia Bay to keep your best friend. It's a tough choice, and I mean, I chose to sacrifice Chloe because in the end, I don't think I would sacrifice. I don't think I would sacrifice thousands of lives just for one person. So I had to sacrifice her, and it's heartbreaking because Max is kind of sitting in the bathroom where where the whole kind of events of the game started, and she's powerless to do anything, and that's really heartbreaking. It really is. She has to see her best friend die, and she can't do anything about it, and that nightmare sequence really got to me. I think Don't Nod have done a fantastic job at Life is Strange, and I really do think they deserve the highest of praises for what they have done with their Life is Strange over the 5 episodes. They have made something fantastically... I mean, it's a sci-fi story, but it feels kind of grounded, and I like that. It reminds me of Persona. It tackles real issues while also having this really interesting, kind of unique story, and it just does a great job of tackling these issues without them feeling tacked on or kind of thrown in there. You know, it really kind of gets to you, and I wouldn't be surprised if people were overall just shaken by the game, and it can be a real horror. It just kind of shows the horrors of high school life and kind of growing up and being forced to grow up in a kind of harsh reality, and it's good. It's really, really good. I love the ending. I think I love the way it ends. That episode overall, I think, probably is my favorite, along with episode 3. I think those two were the top 2 episodes. They did a great job with both of them, and it was a perfect ending. And I'm looking forward to seeing what Don't Nod do next with Life is Strange. Okay, so anyone who has... hopefully, I'm going to put the skip link here, so anyone who didn't want to hear the spoilers, they've ended now, so you're back here. So what I'm mentioning now is I hope Don't Nod I'm interested to see what they do next season. They've already stated that they're not going to be doing they're not going to be using the same characters from the first season. It's going to be a brand new location, brand new characters, and I hope they continue Life is Strange. I really do. I can see a huge potential in this IP, and it's already off to a stellar start, and I look forward to seeing what Don't Nod do next. Even if it's not Life is Strange, I would look forward to seeing what they do next, because they're a really talented studio. Remember Me was also a pretty underrated game. It was really fun. I liked Remember Me, so these guys, watch out for them. They're kind of the up-and-comers. They remind me of Jaeger. They just came out of Jaeger Entertainment when they made Spec Ops The Line. Just came out of nowhere. You know, that's also something now that actually just comes into mind. The Spec Ops The Line. There's going to be some slight spoilers here if you haven't played Spec Ops The Line. Just going to mention that. But Spec Ops The Line, I watched this YouTuber, and he's currently playing through Spec Ops The Line, and I haven't touched Spec Ops The Line since it came out in 2013. It wasn't a very long game. It wasn't an amazing, but what made it kind of amazing in my mind, it's not an amazing game to play, because it's your average third person. It's a good one. It's a decent third person shooter, but it does nothing new to innovate. I know you're going to say, but you said the same about Mad Max. Yeah, but I felt that Spec Ops The Line just kind of got boring after a while. But what kept me going in Spec Ops was more the excellent story the game told, and the great sense of atmosphere. I mean, the game really did make you feel like a monster for the things that you did, and that war kind of never solves everything. War kind of destroys more than it helps, and sometimes people think they are the heroes, but they're not. They're actually the villains. They're in their own deluded sense of reality. And there's just that one scene in Spec Ops The Line, everyone pretty much knows it by now. Well, not everyone, I would say, but most people do know it. It's the white phosphorus scene. Anyone who's played Spec Ops knows that bit from the game. It's the most horrible moment in the game, where you're forced to shoot, because you're under attack, you use a white phosphorus launcher to completely carpet the area. And you just then, after you use it, you're just focusing, kind of like the AC-130 in Modern Warfare. You're just focusing on a kind of a screen. You're just shooting down on them. And when you leave it, you see all the destruction you kind of left in your wake. And then you walk down, and you see the bunch of civilians that you murdered, and there's you see a mother kind of holding her child, and in that moment you can see the main character of the game just snaps. And it's just moments like that made Spec Ops The Line just so good. So good. And I doubt we'll ever get a game like it, ever again. And it was a game that was disguised as sort of the typical military shooter. In a way, even though the game was marketed like as a typical shooter, that's kind of genius in a way. Because it made people think they were playing a military shooter, the typical one where the good guys go in, they save the world. No, they didn't, and the people who played it realized it was something completely different. The game just... I kind of love how throughout the game, the title screen kind of shows the American flag with the American national anthem playing on a radio in the background. And as you play through the game, the flag begins to deteriorate, and it's unbelievable. I remember Spec Ops The Line also scared me at times. During some moments of the game when you die, you get some really creepy loading screens, just delving more into just Walker's, that's the main character, warped mind, and just unbelievable. I don't think we'll ever get something quite as masterful or as poignant as Spec Ops The Line ever again. It was clever. It was just... It kind of just showed us that maybe we haven't realized how desensitized we are to violence. But Spec Ops The Line is kind of a bit of a wake-up call, in that sometimes just because you think you're fighting for the right thing doesn't necessarily mean that you are. And I think, that's an important message, and yeah, that was incredible back in the day, and I'd love to play through Spec Ops again just to experience it. If I could go back in time and experience Spec Ops again completely fresh, that would be amazing, because it's very rare that we're ever going to get a game. It's a rare... I don't think we're ever going to get a game like that again. That's basically what I'm saying. That's pretty much it, I think, all I have to say. I'm trying to think of anything else. Other than, I guess, Syndicate kind of coming out today, it's getting quite slow in the news. Well, one thing I guess I'll quickly touch on is, of course, Hideo Kojima apparently, according to Konami, is on vacation, even though they clearly show there were photos of him uploaded by his fellow employees, fellow colleagues, that he was leaving. And I love how Konami tried to dismiss it as, no, he's on vacation. He hasn't left at all. He still has his contract still is till December. He has to fulfill some sort of I didn't read into it too much. Apparently there's some contractual thing that's keeping him there till December. But it really did look like a going away party, and I'm just laughing at Konami. I mean, what is holding that company together now? To be honest with you, the fans have kind of just revealed that it's basically Skeletor is kind of using his magic and his evil laugh to hold up that entire company, because Konami are so warped now. They're not even Konami anymore. The message of the Phantom Pain kind of makes sense now. When you look at Konami, that everything kind of is not as it seems. Well, not that everything is not as it seems. It's just sort of like there's something about Konami that I don't think we realize yet. I mean, I thought this was... When this whole Kojima thing started, I thought this was just some big marketing ploy, because it made sense. I mean, it would get more people interested in Metal Gear, and, it has. More people are talking about... We're talking about it right now, many months later after it was this whole thing started, so... I think when it comes to gaming in 2015, I think that's the one thing people are going to remember, the whole Kojima versus Konami thing. And I don't think we'll ever really move past it, because it's left such a mark on the gaming industry that and it's left such a scar in the minds of consumers that I don't think Konami will ever be forgiven unless they do something completely amazing. I don't know, bring back Silent Hills, but the likelihood of that happening is very slim. People have tried petitions. Petitions will only get you so far. it's Konami is just a. I mean, I remember funnily enough, I was going through my old YouTube videos the other day, and I saw they had I saw that I had the Richard Rambles about Gamescom and the announcement of Silent Hills, and here we are 1 year and a few months later. Silent Hills is not coming, Kojima's leaving Konami, and the Phantom Pain was not the complete experience that we were hoping. It's just amazing how much has changed in just 1 year. Everything going from, that Konami's turning over a new leaf, Kojima's now in charge of Silent Hill, Silent Hill's coming back, Metal Gear's going to be amazing, and just everything changed, and it's kind of sad now looking back on the past. Just that silence pretty much says it all, really, to be honest. I guess we'll leave it there. Thank you for accompanying me on this little journey. Not much of a journey, but thank you for staying with me, and hopefully we'll see you again when we do this again, and hopefully I'll have that review up soon. So until then, this is Richard Goulding, aka the young man who yells at clouds, and you've been watching Richard G234, and or listening to this. I'd say this would have been much better to listen to. So yeah, take it easy, keep gaming, and if you have any questions, just message me tweet me at Twitter, message me here on YouTube. You can get me on YouTube at any time, and I will answer any questions that you might have. And if you'd like a topic to be discussed on next week's Young Man Yells at Clouds, just leave it in the comments, or tweet me with the no hashtag, just tweet me. Yeah, and I'll get back to you. So, and I'll kind of stop it here now at the 5. Wait, can we stop it? Just about now. Okay, see you later. Bye.